Welcome, everyone, to Real Estate on the Up, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the real estate world in Orlando. I'm your host, Kyle Madorin, and on this show, we're all about pulling back the curtain with the unfiltered truth about real estate. We're not just here to sell houses. We're here to provide concierge-style service because everyone loves being treated like a VIP. This podcast is your go-to resource for transparency, integrity, and the knowledge you need to make smarter real estate decisions. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time homebuyer, we've got you covered. So buckle up and get ready to move up in the world of real estate. It's time for Real Estate on the Up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate on the Up. This is Kyle Madorin, and I'm here today with Natalia Mendez, who's a new home sales consultant with DRB Homes. That's a builder who's been in business since 1990, but they're new to the state of Florida. So this will be a really great introduction for them as a company locally, and also to hear a little bit about what it's like being a new home consultant versus a real estate agent hanging your license with a traditional brokerage. We'll also hear about some of the reasons as a buyer you might want to consider a new property instead of a resale home. So without any further ado, let's bring her on the show. Here she is, Natalia Mendez.
Hi, Kyle. Thank you so much for the invitation.
My pleasure. I'm really happy to have you with us today because it's rare we get a chance to talk to a new home consultant. So this will be very enlightening for everyone watching and listening today. So thank you very much for the time.
You're welcome.
I'd like to start off with the personal side and your journey because you've done a few different things in the industry. So tell us a little bit about how you transitioned from being in property management in another part of the country into new home sales here in Florida and what that journey was like for you.
So yeah, pretty much I started with property management. I had my broker there with Keller Williams. My boss then, Fred Delgado, with the Fred Delgado team, I learned so much just entering into the real estate market and going into property management. You learn a lot about dealing with tenants, with investors, with new homes as well, and used homes, resale, and everything else. We had a team of sales as well as a team for property management. And I've always been very inclined into sales. Being in property management, I learned about giving good news, giving bad news, and just guiding people into purchasing in a good area, which is something that we're going to talk about later. Obviously, investors need to make sure that they purchase a house in a really good area where the profitability and everything is going to be increasing, the value of your home and everything else. Coming into Florida and into new home sales, my partner, he actually moved here and he actually works in new construction. And being in a team with property management, I dealt with a lot of my peers' deals with new construction, and I was always very intrigued by it. Just the entire process. A lot of people feel like it's just going into a model home and that's it, but there's so much more into it. And the opportunity came for me to move to Florida, which I absolutely love. Before he asked me if I wanted to move here, I looked into the market and it was very similar to Arizona. It's a very growing market, which really interests me. And I said, you know what? I want to be closer to Colombia, which is where I'm from. And that made me just feel like, okay, I'm going to get my kids because I'm a single mom. So I'm going to get my kids and move to Florida. And I started here in new construction with Dreamfinders Homes. And now I'm with DRB Homes.
That is amazing. I'm glad to hear you're having a good experience here in Florida so far. Of course, I love to hear that. And it's really interesting how your experience in your property management world there kind of led you on this path. Because I think new home sales, especially here in Florida, there's a lot of new construction. As you said, it's similar to the Arizona market. And it's something that not a lot of agents, once they get licensed, consider going down that path. A lot of them just think they've got to join a company like Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker or Remax as a traditional brokerage. But I think that going into new home sales is a really intriguing position. And there's certainly a lot of customer service that goes into that because you're dealing with a customer for a very extended period of time while that home is under construction, or while they find a house that might already be where the foundation's laid. It might be in that process, but it's still months until that closing will take place. And so working with them through the process, I think sometimes is as long or maybe a longer journey sometimes than an agent has with a buyer purchasing a resale home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's so much involved when it's pre-construction or even an inventory home. And it also depends on which area you are in Florida, because not every area has the same type of customer, the same type of home and everything. So it's like learning new things. I actually started selling in Haines City. Then I was selling North Orlando in the Valley, and now I'm in St. Cloud. So you see different types of clients, different types of realtors and everything. And it's just, there's a lot of learning to do and there's a lot of change, and you have to be good at adapting and just keep it moving and being able to deal well with the change.
That's a great point. There's so much change going on in this industry, especially this year. There seems like there's been an exceptional amount of change, but
Yeah.
always with technology and things. Certainly, we're always kind of rolling with the punches. Thinking back to the time when you were just getting started, you were considering a career in real estate, but you really weren't maybe sure that was the way you wanted to go. I know people are always interested to hear what inspired you to pursue this career, go into the real estate industry originally.
So I was working for a call center for Cox Communications in Arizona. And my boss called me one day. We're really good friends. And he said, Natalia, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm working. What do you need? He's like, no, you love going out. You love networking. You have this passion. And you convinced me into buying a house and you don't even have your license. Like, that's what you should be doing. So I'm like, okay. During that time, I was going through a very big change in my life, my personal life. And I said, you know what, maybe this is something that I should look into. I had just sold my house. So I reached out to my agent and I said, hey, I heard that you need a property management. I have zero experience, but I'm your girl. And, we had a lot of talks and everything. And he liked me. He said, you know what, let's do it. And that's pretty much how it became. I always loved real estate. I've always watched like those TLC shows with people buying a new house and all of that. And I always was so interested in it. We flipped our house, the one that I had sold previously. So I was like, okay, maybe this is something that I want to do. I like to help people. I like to connect with people. So that's kind of how it started. And then it just went up from there. I didn't feel comfortable. That's one of the biggest things that I tell everybody, and even new agents that come to our office. It's like, you cannot feel comfortable in this industry. When you feel like things are okay, that's when you should really work even harder to keep on getting more sales and sales, because you have to ride the wave. And that's what helped me stay also in real estate. Property management is a beast of its own. I've told everybody that has been in it, because I dealt with it, and it's so much fun, but you have to really love it to stay and stick with it.
Yeah, it's certainly a different world. And I had a couple shows where we focus on property management. So we don't want to go down that path too far today. But I know that, like you're saying, it is kind of a crazy world of, what you deal with there. Is there any challenging situation you've dealt with in property management that sticks out as something that, you had to overcome, something unique?
Well, I had a few. One of them that I always remember is having to call an owner, letting them know that the roof caved in into their house.
Oh, that's a fun call to make.
Yeah, yes. I mean, you have to be able to just make those calls and be calm. You have to be the voice of reason, the person that calms them down, and just have a game plan, and that comes back to real estate, to new construction, to resale. You have to have a game plan before you talk to your clients. It's like, okay, this might not work or this happened, but this is what we're going to do. We're just letting you know, because as new consultants, real estate agents, we kind of like deal with everything in the back end. So that was a fun one.
Be thinking a few steps
break-ins.
ahead. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So DRB Homes is new to this area, so not many of the listeners probably have heard of them. Tell us a little bit about the builder and where you guys are focused in the metro area here.
So we're based off of Maryland. We have been building since 1990, all of the Northeast coast. And the community where I'm at in St. Cloud was the very first one that we opened up here in Orlando. We have another one in Winter Garden, and we have another division in Tampa. We're opening up more communities within the next 6 to 9 months. So we're growing. It's a very growing business. We have been focusing on certain areas, which is where a lot of the growth is. Central Florida, there's so much land, there's so much growth and so much opportunity that it was just a matter of time for DRB to actually start building here.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're right. The growth continues, even though we're not seeing a tremendous influx that we're having during COVID. We're still seeing a large number of people coming to this area, both from out of state and from other places within Florida itself. I know the Miami area continues to get more and more expensive, and so we're seeing migration north from there into areas that are a little more affordable. And so the areas that you're building in are certainly two of those that are very, very hot. And so we're seeing a lot of people targeting those. What types of properties does DRB build?
So we focus on pretty much everything. We do townhomes, Winter Garden, that's what we have. And we have single family bungalows in St. Cloud. We're going to have some townhomes on another community nearby where I am right now. Those are going to be townhomes, like a duplex, triplex. And we're opening up another community where it will have the regular single family home, not the bungalow, the traditional one with the garage on the side. We're going to have all types of homes that we're going to be building.
Okay, that's terrific. And what is the price range where you're seeing for the townhouses and then the bungalows that you're building currently?
So on the townhomes right now, we're going from $389, and that's final price, up to $480 if they wanted to build something. One of the things is like my bungalows have an option to have a retreat built above the garage, which is technically a little studio. So a lot of investors
Nice.
are really looking into that. Not just investors, but like first-time home buyers and people that are buying their second home because they want maybe that extra income, or they want their family members to be able to come and stay there and be more comfortable, or people from out of state. Foreign nationals too. They want to have a place to stay and just rent out the front of the house. One of the things is that this is a very residential area, so there's no Airbnbs, which we're seeing in a lot of new construction. We're far from the parks, but we're so close to Lake Nona, to the beach, the coast. But it's a very hot area, and that's pretty much what we're building here. For the townhomes, they're going to be in Harmony West. We haven't had pricing yet, but it's going to be around the low 300s.
Very good. Affordable price point. So that's great. We need definitely more properties that are affordable these days. It seems like that's getting harder and harder.
Yes.
Very good. And so you've been doing new home sales for a few years now. And so you've probably seen changes occur in the marketplace over the last few years. How have things evolved for you since you started in new home sales versus where things stand today? Have you seen changes in terms of the way people approach it? What are your thoughts for the way the market is heading currently?
So pretty much being in new construction, we have the advantage of offering a lower interest rate, which has been the biggest thing that affects the market. People see interest rates and they're just like, okay, I'm just going to wait. I remember 2022, the moment the rates started to drop just a little bit, people were like, okay, let's go. We're going to start buying. But from 2022 to this year, people are more conservative. Like they're very much waiting. Obviously, it's an election year, so a lot of people are just holding on tight. I've heard a lot about people saying, oh, pricing is going to go down. And we all know it's not going down. It's not going up as fast as it was during COVID, but it is still going up. There's so much interest here from foreign nationals. They're still buying in this market, which is helping it gain more value. So it's been a wave. It goes up and down, up and down. And lately, for example, the last few months, it's been a little slower, and it's been for everybody. We talk to everybody in general real estate, and they say the same thing. They're like, okay, we're just kind of holding on tight and just keep on reaching back to clients, because it seems like they're just afraid of what's really going to happen once the election season is over and all of that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fear among buyers. And so I don't think the election's going to have a huge impact one way or another on things. But you are absolutely right that the interest rates have doused the market with cold water. And as we know, it's all about supply and demand. And we've reduced that demand a bit because of the interest rates. But as you were mentioning, we also feel, as we've read all the analysis that we can, we're not going to be in a market that falls apart where the prices plummet. There's pent up demand. They're just waiting to get in there and buy something as soon as interest rates come down just a little bit. And because sellers have this golden handcuff sort of situation where they love being in a house where they already have a low interest rate, they're not selling. So we're not seeing this massive spike in inventory that would cause things to possibly change. And because homes gained so much equity over the last few years, we're also not going to see a foreclosure crisis that we saw in 2007, 2008. So it's a very sort of stagnant marketplace. I think, as you were saying before, we're just almost treading water. There's things happening, but it's just not, the volume of activity isn't what we are used to or what we hope for.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's really, like you said, a lot of people are holding on to their homes because they have a good interest rate. What we're seeing now is just, it's mostly first-time home buyers, people that have moved here from out of state, people that have been renting for whatever reason. Maybe they sold during COVID and they started renting, or just people that moved here from other countries that are just waiting to be able to qualify for a home.
Right. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. It's great that you're still seeing people wanting to take that plunge, because I do think it's a great time to consider buying right now while interest rates are a little bit higher and there's not as much demand, because once interest rates come down, you're going to see a huge group of buyers jumping back into the market, and potentially that's going to drive pricing up again. So yeah, I think that now is a good time to act, especially you guys are offering great incentives with low interest rates, which helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we have a fixed interest rate that it's lower than obviously what the market has. And we're also paying closing costs too. Now, this is a good time to actually go in and negotiate, your home. Even if it's a new construction, there's a lot of new builders are doing that. When it comes to like the inventory homes, I noticed that a lot of people don't realize that an inventory home is actually gives you more incentive than a to be built. But there's a buyer for everything, and there's just options for everybody.
Absolutely. Are there certain features or things that people desire in terms of amenities in their homes that are very popular among the customers that you're working with right now, that it seems like is sort of the hot thing everyone's looking for?
The retreat is the one thing everybody wants. That everybody's looking for the next gen house, and that's pretty much what all realtors call for. Do you have a next gen? Do you have a next gen? Do you have something quick moving? They want that. They've been asking for that. Here, we have them available, but they have to build them. However, our time frame for build is like 5 to 6 months, so it's not that long, and that's including permits. Another thing, they want to make sure if it's a 2-story house, they have to have that house on the first floor, because they have family members that can be going up and down the stairs and stuff. So we have that. Definitely DRB Homes have been focusing on those things that the people want, the wants of them and their needs. So we definitely have those options. Having a community with a pool, usually, we're in Florida. Everybody asks for that. They might not use it, but they ask for it. Well, our homes
Nice
are
to have it
smart homes.
Yeah, right,
Yes.
right. Yeah.
So now, with technology and everything, we do have a smart feature. We have the Ring doorbell and everything else. So that's also a plus that not a lot of builders do.
Sure. Yeah, the technology is always very desirable. We often get people relocating to the area who are cross-shopping Orlando with other places, Tampa, Miami, maybe Jacksonville. What are some reasons that you think Orlando is a great place for buyers to invest?
Well, Orlando still has a lot of growth. There's a lot of, for example, around the parks in Winter Garden, for example, Universal is opening up their new park. So it's going to bring a lot of value too, because it's going to bring a lot of tourism still. They have the parks, Tampo and Lake Nona. We're very close to it. Tavistock, it's opening up a little more of their land that it's coming down to Nova Road. So that's going to bring a lot more commercial buildings and a lot of growth that's going to happen a lot faster for St. Cloud, where maybe in South Florida, like Miami, there's really not much land where they can build because it's already been built, most of it. So a lot of people do look into that. The pricing, it's not as expensive as it is going to Miami. It's not as crowded. It's not so much traffic as it is down there. So maybe people coming from New York, they don't want to deal with that. They just want to be kind of like more on the outskirts, but still not feel like they're too far away from everything. So it feels like the perfect place where they can still get value on their home once we're all done building in their community and maybe go on to the next one. So there's a lot of pluses that they see here.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's also differences with buying a new home versus a resale property. What are some potential advantages if there's a buyer out there who's never purchased a new home before that would be good for them over the possibility of moving into an older home?
So the first one here in Florida is the insurance. We're seeing so many homes or areas that are very hard to obtain home insurance. That's one of the things. And even if they do obtain, it's going to be through the roof. Buying a new home, it gives you the warranty for the builder. It gives you a lower home insurance as well. You're buying where the development hasn't finished yet. So by the time it's finished, your house is going to gain a lot of value. So that's pretty much like the biggest thing. Another thing is that as a builder, we offer more incentives than resale house would offer. They can't really offer you a lower interest rate and all closing costs paid. So those are a few things. I mean, older homes, don't get me wrong, they're beautiful and they have their own desirable thing, but having a new home, it's going to avoid having any issues with like repairs or anything like that in the near future.
There's definitely some peace of mind that comes with that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have people who are watching or listening who may want to reach out to you and learn more about new homes or the communities that you're building in. What's the best way that they can reach you if they want to?
So they can go ahead and I'm always with my phone. Text me, call me. I always tell everybody, call me, text me, or email me. I'll go ahead and leave you guys my information. If you guys want to learn more about DRB Homes, we are going to have our first annual charity bash next month in November 14th. So our realtors, if you guys look me up on social media, we'll go ahead and leave you guys the information so you can register for the event. It'll be amazing and just a great way of you guys learning more about the company and our communities and who we are, what we do.
That's fantastic. Natalia, thank you so much for joining us today, for your time, for educating us on new home sales. I know for some of us listening, there's probably a lot of information that they haven't heard before. And so I think this was fantastic. I really appreciate your time today.
No, thank you so much for inviting me.
My pleasure. And thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on Real Estate on the Up. As we conclude another eye-opening episode of Real Estate on the Up, I want to express my appreciation for joining us. Thank you for being a valuable part of the Real Estate on the Up community. Your time and engagement mean the world, so make sure you subscribe and leave a review. Your real estate goals are my priority, and my team and I are here to provide the personalized attention and service that have earned us high recognition. If you have questions, need guidance, or are ready to make a move, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm just a message away. I'm Kyle Madorin, one of Rate My Agent's top 100 in the United States, signing off. Until next time, take care and make those real estate dreams a reality.